Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be showing you how the Jekyll and Hyde junk journal goes together. And so what I've done is this time I've done something a bit different. I try and do something a little different each time, only because it just makes all the books look different. I don't want everything looking the same all the time. So this time I used a traveler's notebook size, and so when you get your pages, they're going to look like this after you cut them. Do not cut these strips off. These are going to be used in the binding. And what I thought would be interesting is, instead of having to ink every single page or back them or double print them, print them double-sided, I thought what might be interesting is if each divider actually creates a pocket section. And so I don't know if you can see the little cut lines there on the pages. But what the intent is that you cut along the dotted ones, not along the straight. And you glue both the bottom and the side, not where the binding part is, but just inside there. And that will leave this entire section in here for as a pocket. And you can glue the top if you like to, because we've cut open the pocket, or you can leave it open as an additional pocket. So it's up to you. But I thought that this would make it interesting and would make it easier not to have to back all the pages and all that sort of stuff. And I think it'll be really exciting to be able to add some interest with all the little pockets and stuff. And I've designed them different. Some of them are just like angled, and some of them are straight cut. And the different pages have different ones. Some of the pages don't have them. You can add them yourself. You can cut wherever you like. This is just a suggestion. Do not glue these before you cut them, obviously, because then you'll go through the other side. The other suggestion that I have is do not glue them until after you've cut the slits. And what I do is I actually just, with a little bit of ink, I ink the back surface, you see, inside there, so that when there's nothing in the pocket, it still looks the same color as the paper. And I used antique linen for that. And I also inked the slits just so that they would look a little bit more authentic. So here's one that's completed, as you can see. I've folded it, I've cut it. I haven't done the top, but I've glued the sides and the bottom. And actually I glued it along this strip, and I don't think that's going to affect the binding, to be honest with you. So if you want to glue along the strip, I don't think there's a problem with that. And as you can see, then the pockets, you know, you can stick a whole variety of ephemera and stuff in there, photos, notes, envelopes, strips, you know, whatever you want. I don't know, this one might be a little bit big. Here we go. So, and you can have them all sort of peeking out, and I think that will add a really sort of cool look to this book and make it look really authentic. And here's picture, hang on, where's the other half of this picture? Here somewhere. And what I did was I did it like a deliberately torn picture, so that half of it's showing Jekyll and half of it's showing Hyde. This is the picture, and what I actually did was I actually trimmed it. I've laid it up like that, so in case you don't want to, you can just put it on there, but I actually cut mine in half so that it would look cooler. And if I could find the other half, that would be fantastic. But I can never find this stuff when I need it. Of course, as soon as I move on, I will find it, and then it will be too late. So, never mind. But anyway, you can see what I intend to do with it. And, you know, you can decorate this part however you want. You can put any pictures you want on there to make it look authentic. You know, put them angled, whatever you want. I'm really excited this time, because what I've done is I've actually purchased some photo corners, which I'm going to distress to make them look old, and that will be more period authentic. And also I bought myself some little sort of dark looking brads and some little eyelets to use with this. I don't have a lot of this stuff, so it's exciting for me. This one's actually a sample page, and it's actually not the right size, but you can see that on the right size the photo fits nicely this way, and you know, the pockets will be wider and stuff. So anyway, so all you need to do is trim the edges, the white edges off your paper, score along these and along these, because when you bind this, you want this to be able to be bent, just so it's just not so stiff. And then what you're going to do is you're going to trim along these with your craft knife, and I use a metal ruler. and of course my cutting mat, which I lent to my partner to do his puzzle on because it's the only thing that's the right size. And now I have to try and move a few little puzzle pieces so I have a little tiny edge, little tiny area where I can cut. So just excuse me for a second. I'm going to quickly cut this, hopefully not cutting through any puzzle pieces or disturbing any, but I'm cutting along that perforated sort of looking line, and I'm leaving the other straight lines alone. Because you don't want to cut right to the edge, you want to leave an area, like a buffer type area. But I mean, it's up to you. You can if you want. It's not like it's set in stone. None of this is. You don't, I mean, I've done the perforations quite faint, so you don't actually have to cut pockets in if you don't want. On a couple of pages, they're a bit darker, so you might have to on those pages, but I think it will add nice interest to the journal. Here we go. And, you know, take the time to line it up nicely and take care with your cutting so that your pocket edges look really nice. You can cut thicker slits. Like what you can do is actually cut the perforations out all together and sort of cut like a thin strip out instead of just cutting along the perforations. But I've cut along like I did with this one. I did that with this one. See how I cut like a strip instead of just cutting a straight edge? Here, let me show you. Take these out. So if you compare that strip to the one that I just cut here, this is almost invisible, you see. It won't be when I ink it, because I probably want to ink it. I don't know, maybe not. I may not. I didn't cut all the way through this one. There we go. Okay, so I also included a freebie that I've posted in all the groups, and I've included it in the files, and that's this little note page. Now I wanted to show you, when you get it, it's actually laid up on a sheet and it's got the same color behind it, and the reason I did that is in case you don't want to have to cut out each thing, I drop shadowed it. And so you can cut just a straight edge or a flat edge, and then when you put it on there, it will sort of look like a little notepad paper that's been torn out, you see? And you don't have to actually go and do the perforations, but I am so pernickety, I just had to do it. So what I did, I just wanted to quickly show you to make it look so authentic, was I used my crocodile and I just perforated all the little edges, all the little holes that show in the layup. And then I just went with scissors and I cut along that ragged edge and cut down the little slits to make it look like it's actually been torn out. And I've got these in like lined and grid and plain, and they just look really cute. I want to splash mine with some like water with green food coloring to make it look like the green Jekyll and Hyde solution, and I'm going to put like some kind of like a chemical equation that I'm going to write by hand on there, and you know, arrows and all sorts of stuff to make it look like he was frantically creating this fantastic potion, and he wrote it on this note and just stuck it in there type thing. So you can print these on paper like I have, or on cardstock to make them more like tags. I actually double-sided these so that I wouldn't have to distress the edges. It just takes too much of my time up, but you don't have to. You can not distress the edges, I mean, so I didn't have to ink the back, so that it all looks this aged paper colors like this. Just for comparison, here's white. So I've made them look aged and distressed already. I'm usually very heavy with my distressing, and if you can see the edges of this is how I actually did the printouts. I'm not actually going to do very much more distressing on these, only because I want this to look old, but I want it to look correct, period correct. I don't want it to look really, really exaggerated this time. If I do use any ink, I'm going to use antique linen, maybe a touch of vintage photo, but I'm certainly not going to use any walnut stain this time. So anyway, with the papers, the way that these are done is you're going to have plain, lined, and grid that I made up. And what I have done is I've also created a backing, which you can double-side it. And you're going to lay them all up, like you're going to fold them and lay them all inside each other. And then if you see these perforation strips, these strips here that were laid up on a sheet. In fact, I've still got, no, I cut them all up. There we go. So what I did was I scored every second line and I cut the others in between to make these double-sided strips, and you fold them and you're going to put them around the paper. The reason you're going to do that is as a reinforcement for the binding. Now, how you affix these is you can either glue them in or you can staple them on. Just make sure that you don't put them in crucial places where you're going to be doing the binding, or you can stitch them with your sewing machine, which will also really help to reinforce the whole thing. Just do a stitch the whole way across. These parts are going to be hidden inside the binding, and that will reinforce this, and it will make it so that when you open your pages, that strip is going to create the new edge, if that makes any sense. So you won't be able to open them past this binding point. But yeah, so that's how you're going to do each signature. You're just going to, I've done 5 pages. I've got 3 here, but I'm going to do 5 pages for each signature. And I'm going to put this strip on there. I wouldn't do any more than 5 because the strip doesn't become very effective then. Maybe 6 maximum, you know. And then, so we're going to intersperse these with these. And that's how our book's going to be put together. So we're going to have loose pages, and then we're going to have these pockets that have, these signature pages that have the pockets, which are really cool and fun to put all this stuff in. Now at the moment I'm holding this with my fingers so they don't fall all the way down because I haven't glued anything yet, but you get the idea. And then you can put like little, I've got some really interesting little pieces in this kit, like, you know, bottles, and I've got this which is folded, which is really cute with the bottles. And what I thought I would make this into is you can either have it like this, or you can fold it and make it into like a little booklet, like so. And so there's lots of interesting things that you can do with this kit, and I hope you enjoy it. This should be able to give you like a starting point at the very least, where you know how this goes together and how it's meant to look, and what the purpose is, and how, for once, oddly, these loose edges are not going to go towards the outside. They're going to be put inside for the binding, and leave these pocket pages throughout the book. So hopefully you enjoy that, and I hope that's self-explanatory, and I hope that it helps you guys out. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm always happy to answer. I've also been making period paper clips, which is really, really cute, and I'm going to do a separate tutorial on that because being authentic and wanting it all to look so cool, I went out and Googled paper clips for the 1800s, and that was actually when they were patented, was the late 1800s. And so what I did was I went and got some jumbo paper clips from Office Depot, and I uncoiled them, and then I used my flat nose pliers and round nose pliers from jewelry making, and I made replicas of the 1800 one, and right now I'm rusting them to make them look really old and dingy. So that'll be really cool, and I'm excited about that. But I'll share that in another tutorial. So hopefully you've enjoyed this, and I will be continuing with some more tutorials on how to put this all together. I've got a big mess here that I'm trying to get organized before I actually put my journal together, and I'll do a flip through of that as well. So thank you for watching. Hopefully this helps. Bye.